EMPATH, Spiritual Healing and Survival Guide for Sensitive People. Written by Stephanie White. Narrated by Kip Ferguson. Introduction. What is an empath? An empath is someone who has an unusually strong sense of connection, sensitivity, and simpatico with the emotions and feelings of other people. The word sensitive is probably the word that conveys the essence of what an empath is better than any other word. However, it doesn't mean they are emotionally sensitive themselves. In other words, many empaths are very practical and pragmatic with their own emotions, but are highly sensitive to yours. Empaths tend to be highly caring, nurturing, and emotionally available people by nature, and tend to be givers rather than takers as a general rule as well. Many empaths have tremendous psychic and intuitive gifts, simply because they are far more naturally connected to the emotions and needs of other people. Many social scientists describe empaths as having a very real sixth sense, which is the ability to identify, understand, and ultimately bond with people and their problems in the way that most of us can't. This leads to an astounding amount of insight and an intuition that can border on being unexplained. As a matter of fact, some recent studies seem to suggest that the sixth sense that emotional empaths have is quite literally a more highly developed brain in two specific areas. Definition. Empaths. Empaths are people who can look at a person and tell what they are feeling and experiencing. They often get confused between their own feelings and other people's. Also have difficulty being in crowded places like shopping centers or pubs, and can sometimes feel natural and man-made disasters before they happen. If you are an empath, you probably struggle with many aspects of daily life. One of the major problems with empaths is that they have a tendency to take on other people's emotions and issues as though they were their own. When you feel other people's feelings, you often don't realize that the emotions are coming from outside of yourself. They all tend to feel as though they are your emotions, which can be very mystifying and often overpowering. After a while of accumulating emotions, both yours and others, you can get very sick. To move beyond these difficulties, some new life skills need to be introduced and implemented. There are a number of ways to counter the problems of being an empath. Many of them have to do with defining and clarifying who you are and what you believe. The first and most important action to take is to get focused on your thoughts and beliefs. As you come to a much clearer, more conscious awareness about who you are and what you believe compared to what others believe, you will widen the gap between yourself and others' emotions. Even if you do take on another's feelings, it will be easier to recognize them as not belonging to you. Once the recognition is made, you can easily let go of the other person's stuff. A survival guide for empaths. Empaths are very special people and face multiple daily challenges. You connect with the energy of others sharing your space and also your environment through energy imprints. This can be overwhelming at times, and in order to gain control and manage your own energy, a few tools can be essential. Here are some tips and techniques that have proven to be valuable assets for the empath's toolbox. Positive affirmations are also very helpful. A positive affirmation is a short sentence or two that supports positive thought patterns and can actually retrain your brain. An example, "Let me receive what is in my best and highest good at this time," is both raising your energetic signature and open-ended. Why is open-ended a good thing? It doesn't define, which can sometimes place limits or expectations, providing an unintended consequence. What is the best and highest good is better than you have imagined. If you leave it open-ended, it can flow right to you. Shielding. Shielding is another tool you can use when you're just getting started. This involves calling in a high vibrational energetic field to protect you. You can call in angels and see them standing by you in your mind's eye, or imagining a white light encasing you. Another method is to see yourself in armor made of mirrors which send energy right back to its source. A developed empath will be able to allow energy to flow through without absorbing any. This takes confidence and skill. You can develop this with practice. It is the knowledge that any energy that flows towards you is temporary, like a breeze. It can flow right through you. You can feel it, know it does not belong to you, and allow it to pass through without absorbing any of it. Good energetic hygiene. It starts with a basic understanding of chakras, and then a simple visualization of cleansing them. Some people see the chakra wheels of color and imagine them spinning with bright, healthy color, and any dark spots of negativity are removed. Doing this in the shower can be quite effective, as any negativity goes right down the drain with the dirty bathwater. You can also imagine white light coming in through your crown chakra, nourishing and replenishing the chakras. Meditation and centering are also valuable assets for your empathic toolbox. Meditation for 10 to 20 daily will bring profound change. Centering involves coming back to self. Empaths connect with others, and it's like an energetic handshake. Your energy goes out to meet and greet others, and centering brings you back into your body fully. This allows you to align with spirit source energy and step out of ego. Mindfulness is great for centering. Try to live in the moment, and whatever emotion comes up, acknowledge, express, and then release it. Stones and essential oils can also be helpful. Depending on how you are wired, you might prefer one more than the other. Remember, you are an individual. Your expression of empathic ability and empathic experience may be similar to other persons. However, the truth is, you are a unique divine expression. That means you will vibe strongly and have an affinity with some things and not others. That's your beauty and why the world needs you. Forgiving others and forgiving self is one of the most powerful tools you have. It will clear your energy and raise your vibrational rate. Remember, forgiveness is for your well-being. The other person doesn't need to forgive you for benefit. It can be a challenge to do this. However, it is necessary for your growth and evolution. No one has walked this earth and not harmed, intentionally or unintentionally, another being. It is part of the human experience. So like the prayer says, forgive others and forgive yourself. The root chakra connects us to the earth. Be aware of this, and using visualization, ground into the earth. See, using your mind's eye, a cord connecting you to the earth. You can then use it to send negative energy into the earth where it is absorbed and to draw up nourishing energy from the center of the earth. Doing this will increase your energy flow. Others helpful techniques include listening to music or nature sounds. Spending time in nature and with your pets is a great way to relax, clear your energy, and center yourself. Exercise programs will support a good energetic flow. Yoga is really good because it combines breathing with poses that encourage alignment and flow of energy. Characteristics of an empath. They are loving, caring, kind people who want to support others. They're often found doing volunteer work and may serve others through emotionally demanding careers as child caregivers, medical professionals, midwives, and such. Most empaths came in with a mission to heal people, animals, plants, and the planet. As healers, many have taken on so much external energy that they spend most of their time trying to clear unwanted energy and recuperate from the last episode that blew their doors off. Here are a few characteristics of empaths who have not learned to filter out other people's emotions or manage their own energy. You constantly feel overwhelmed with emotions, and you may cry a lot, feel sad, angry, or depressed for no good reason. You may be tempted to think you're crazy for having random mood swings and bouts of unexplained fatigue. If you're a woman, it's like having PMS all the time. Unrestrained empathy can cause a person to manifest symptoms similar to bipolar, manic-depressive disorder. You drop by the store feeling great, but once you get in a crowd, you start feeling down, angry, sad, or overwhelmed. You feel you must be coming down with something, so you decide to go home and rest. If you've found that you can't be in public without becoming overwhelmed, you may start to live the life of a hermit. But even at home, you get depressed when you watch the news and you cry while watching a movie. You feel horrible when a commercial for the Humane Society shows animals that need a home. You may rescue more animals than you can possibly care for. You feel sorry for people, no matter who they are or what they have done. You feel the need to stop and help anyone in your path. You can't pass by a homeless person without giving him money, even if you don't have it to spare. Many empaths are overweight. When they absorb stressful emotions, it can trigger panic attacks, depression, as well as food, sex, and drug binges. Some may overeat to cope with emotional stress or use their body weight as a shield or buffer. Most empaths have the ability to physically and emotionally heal others by drawing the pain or ailment out of the sick person and into their own bodies. For obvious reasons, this is not recommended unless you know how to keep from becoming ill in the process. From chest pains and stomach cramps to migraines and fever, you manifest symptoms without contracting an actual illness. Later, you learn that your ailment coincided with the onset of a friend or family member's illness. No one can lie to you because you can see through their facade and know what they really mean. You may even know why they lied. People, even strangers, open up and start volunteering their personal information. You may be sitting in the waiting room, minding your own business and waiting your turn when the person next to you starts sharing all kinds of personal information. You didn't ask them to, and they never considered that you might not want to hear about their drama. People may feel better after speaking with you, but you end up feeling worse because they have transferred their emotional pain to you. Some empaths don't do well with intimate relationships, constantly taking on their partner's pain and emotions. They may easily get their feelings hurt, desire to spend time alone rather than with the partner, feel vulnerable when having sex, and feel that they have to continually retrieve their own energy when it gets jumbled with that of their partner. They may be so afraid of becoming engulfed by another person that they close up emotionally just to survive. The ill, the suffering, and those with weak boundaries are drawn to the unconditional understanding and compassion and empathy emits without even being aware of it. Until you learn how to shut out the energy of others, you may have a pretty miserable existence in which you feel like you have to be entirely alone in order to survive. It's easy to see why being an empath is often very draining. No wonder that over time some folks shut down their empathic ability. And with that, they also shut down a vital part of their divine guidance system. Learn how to manage the amount of info energy you receive and hear more of what is really important. Coping tips for empaths to help you embrace your gift. Being an empath can be physically and emotionally draining. Many people are unaware that they're an empath and do not know how to cope with this ability. Firstly, you should start to develop your shield body. This is your protection bubble around your physical body. Everyone and everything is energy, and what you think, you create. There is a layer of your aura that is devoted to your interface with your environment. Its shape and condition indicate your relationship to your world. People who are empaths often have a thin skin in relation to their shield body. When it has holes in it, we are more easily influenced by our environment. Visualize your shield body. Visualize a shield of energy around your physical body. See it as being radiant and complete. You may see it as a particular color. Some people like to see it as white or gold. Decide what color would work well for you and see it that way. Imagine the shield body as flowing and moving, not static. We are developing a shield here, not armor. It is good for it to be flexible so you can let in what serves you and keep out what doesn't. Snap your fingers to hold it in place. Do this exercise regularly. Center of being. Once you have the shield body in place, imagine that there is a spark in the center of your being that is your pure essence. Focus your attention on the spark. Bring all your senses to bear. Also, be aware of your sensations, emotions, and thoughts. First, try this when you are alone, and then, after a time, practice it around others. See if you can switch your awareness from your environment to yourself and back again. Notice the difference between the two. Don't take on responsibilities that aren't yours. A person can get so used to caretaking that they can feel as though they are supposed to do it. You are not. It is good to be as compassionate as possible without going beyond the limits of what you need to do to maintain your health and sanity. You are responsible up to that line and not beyond it. If you are an empath, your idea of where the line is might be a bit fuzzy. Once you get to know where the line is, your perception will change, so stick with it. It will make all your relationships clearer and cleaner. Embracing your dark and light side without harming non-empaths are often outwardly kind and caring. They usually get the benefits of everyone thinking that they are almost saintly sometimes. It is easy to get attached to being the nice guy. It is not easy dealing with people's negative emotions, but caretaking of others does not ultimately serve them or you. It does not help them to protect them from their feelings. It keeps them from growing up. Besides, it's not real. It's much better to live in reality than a padded reality. Visualization. Imagine you are sending roots down into the earth from your base. Imagine you can breathe in and out of your root center. On the inhale, breathe in energy from the earth. On the exhale, release anything that is within you that does not serve you out of the root center and into the earth. Or, on a beach, feel your feet on the sand for grounding and breathe with the waves coming in and going out. Some healing stones that you might find helpful are obsidian snowflake, hematite, red jasper, and Kansas pop rocks. Provide good grounding of high energy states. These crystals are used for balancing and cleansing, removing blockages, and to aid in healing. Smudging and clearing regularly. Whether you are having difficulty with your empathic abilities or not, it is a good idea to smudge yourself regularly to release other people's energy and influence from your energy body. Smudging is a way to clear your energy by waving incense around your body. Sage, copal, frankincense, nagchampa, and palo santo are all recommended. Other good clearing methods are showering, bathing, and spending time in solitude at home, in garden, or in nature. For your home, open the curtains and windows for a while each day, sweeping, dusting, hoovering, shaking, and patting things off. Change the energy of your surrounding. Plants, crystals, geodes, spray aromatherapy oils or crystal mixed water, incense and or candles, your choice, if left stagnant, affects your living space. Develop your throat chakra. Sometimes an empath will know what they need to say or do to make good boundaries, but have a hard time following through and expressing it. The throat chakra is the center for the expression of personal truth. Through the opening of the throat chakra, we open ourselves to expressing our true needs and feelings, as well as expressing the creative force as it moves through us. Some good exercises for opening the throat chakra are singing and chanting, sharing your feelings and thoughts with trusted friends who lift you, and meditating on the throat chakra. Some healing stones that help with this throat chakra are lapis lazuli, turquoise, chariscola, amazonite, and blue lace agate. You can meditate with them, put them in a medicine bag, or wear jewelry, particularly necklaces. Solitude. Intuitive people tend to be quite empathic, picking up on the energy of others, and so they can find crowds, smells, sensations, social interactions, and public places overstimulation. Honor your need to go within to recharge. There is nothing wrong with supporting your health by taking lots of downtime in between work or social engagements. Get out in nature. Even the garden is just as good. You could create a sanctuary with statues, garden ornaments, wind chimes, wooden or metal, flowers and plants you are drawn to, rocks and shells you have collected. Read lots of books or meditate. Listen to music you feel drawn to, happy or sad, as frequency healing is proven to be very therapeutic for your emotions. Say no to social engagements that totally drain you, and or be sure to leave when you feel you've reached your fill. Light candles, incense, use smudge sticks to clear out old energy from your living spaces. Be aware of background noises that drain you. Turning off a TV or radio that plays constantly in the background often has a noticeably positive impact on an empath. Unplug, switch off the phone. Take the time to sit with your emotions and open to your own wisdom. Emotional tracking. Support from others is wonderful and can be life-changing, but ultimately you need to connect with your own inner knowing in order to make that meaningful outlook last. Take all the time you need each day for solitude. This is not a passive time. Solitude is fortifying and strengthening to your third eye. Effects of childhood on empaths. While all human beings have a physical body, that doesn't mean that they experience life in the same way. If one was to think about why this is, they might focus on how we are born into different environments and how these environments can be the defining factor. However, without even going into the factors that might explain why everyone sees life differently, there are also differences when it comes to what is taking place within someone. Just because one has a physical body, it doesn't mean that they have the same level of empathy as someone else. There are going to be people who have what could be classed as a balanced sense of empathy, and then there are going to be others who are out of balance. One could be in a position where they have no empathy, or they could have too much empathy. More than enough. If one has too much empathy, they are unlikely to be a danger to others, but they could be a danger to themselves. And while they are unlikely to be called cold, they could be classed as being overly sensitive. They might do their best to avoid environments where there's too much going on, and they could choose to spend a lot of time by themselves. One is then not in a room by themselves through force, they're there through choice. On one hand, this can mean that one is able to form deeper connections to others and for people to warm to them, but it could also cause one to avoid others. Being around others could be overwhelming, and this could mean that one is unable to use their heightened sense of feeling to enhance their life. Out of control. When one has empathy, it is going to be another part of who they are and not something that will necessarily describe their life. However, when one has a heightened sense of empathy, it is not going to be another part of their life. It could end up defining their whole life. One is not going to feel as though their ability to empathize is another part of them. One is going to feel as though their empathy is in control of them. It is then not possible for one to decide who they empathize with or to protect their heart, as they're going to have no choice in the matter. A walking sponge. It then won't matter if one is talking to something or whether they are in a social environment just walking past others, as they're going to be affected in the same way. Just being around other people will be enough for one to know what they are feeling. Being around others is going to cause one to be bombarded, and they will feel defenseless. It won't matter if they are concerned about someone or not, or whether they are even facing them, as they will still absorb what they're going through. One is then like a sponge that has been put in water. In the beginning, there will be water on one side, and as time passes, the whole sponge will end up being submerged. Non-existent. When one has no empathy, they're not only going to be a danger to themselves, they're also going to be a danger to the people around them. And they could end up being labeled as a psychopath. There is a chance that someone like this could be in prison, and yet they could also be found in the business world. One's lack of empathy could then be what has caused them to end up behind bars, and at the same time, it could also be what has allowed them to rise to the top of their profession. Having no empathy is not going to assist one when it comes to having relationships, but it will aid them when it comes to certain areas of life. Sense of self. When one is around others, it is going to be a challenge for them to maintain their sense of self. And this is because they're going to embody what is going on around them, and what is going on for them is likely to be a mystery. In fact, one might find it difficult to differentiate between their feelings and the feelings of others. Who they are could depend on who they are with, and this is because one doesn't have any boundaries. Empaths. While there is the chance that one started to experience life this way as an adult, it is likely to be something that one has experienced for the majority of their life. And when one experiences life this way, they are often described as being an empath. It has been said that people are born this way and that it comes down to their genetics. There are others who believe that people are like this due to what happened during their childhood. If one was to look at how an empath experiences life, they might come to the conclusion that it is not so much a special ability as it is a consequence of childhood trauma. When one feels that their life is under threat, their point of focus is no longer divided between what is taking place within them and what is taking place without. It is going to be on what is taking place around them. And when a child feels under threat, they are likely to have less control than they would if they were an adult. It might not be safe for them to have boundaries and to therefore protect themselves. What could be safe is for them to remain boundary-less and to let the people around them do whatever they want. Survival mode. During one's early years, it wouldn't have been safe for them to just be. They would have had been in survival mode. Tuning in to how the people around them were feeling was not something that they did to simply gain approval. It was something they had to do to either avoid being harmed or to know when they were about to be affected in some way. Through living in this kind of environment, where one had to focus on others and the people around them were only focused on their own needs, one wouldn't have been able to realize they were separate from them and their development would have been stunted. So their needs and feelings would have been overlooked and they wouldn't have been able to develop boundaries. Awareness. The years will have passed, but their sense of self hasn't been able to develop, and one has remained in a symbiotic state. It will be important for them to process what happened to them all those years ago, and as this is done, they will begin to develop a sense of self, and their boundaries will also start to develop. This doesn't mean that one will no longer have this ability. What is likely to mean is that one will begin to settle down and gain a great understanding of themselves. One can then use this ability to enhance their life as opposed to it being something that makes their life a misery. The assistance of a therapist or a healer will be required, and they can hold the space so that one can let the emotional pain that is within them. They will also be able to provide the positive regard that one didn't receive all those years ago. Empath across lifespan. Babies, children, and teens. Empathy is what makes other people matter to us and reminds us to acknowledge the people around us as we understand and share their feelings. Empathy exists in early mother-infant bonding. Even before birth, a baby in the womb is sensitive to the mother's feelings, whether positive, neutral, or negative. Once born, a baby shows receptivity to parents' anger, tension, and depression, as well as their caring responsiveness and love. You've probably noticed how they emulate your facial expressions, smiling in response to your smile. They also may cry if they hear another baby cry. This type of response is a step in the development of empathy and the ability to share the feelings of another person. Babies engross the mental and emotional energy of the people around them. They don't filter anything. They simply receive. As a child ages, this empathic tendency may increase and get out of control. Some children pick up the emotions, energy, or thoughts of others to the degree that it becomes overwhelming and interrupts the development of their social and emotional life. Because these children do not know how to set personal boundaries, they do not realize when they're in another person's mental or emotional space, much less how hostile this can be to that person. It can also lower the child's own vibrational level. An empath is sensitive to what is obvious as well as unseen things, such as ghosts and the thoughts, emotions, and illnesses they sense around them. Empaths may get hunches, see mental pictures, or have a gut feeling that supplies hidden information about people and situations. They may also get a physical sensation in their body that lets them know where another person is afflicted or suffering. Being an empath is very draining for an adult. Just imagine what it feels like to be an intuitive or empathic child and not have the language to explain it to your parents or teachers. A child who is overloaded with the energy of others may have ongoing illnesses, show depressive episodes, lash out in anger, cry without reason, or try to fix things between adults who argue or do not get along well. A child or teen who sees or hears in the spirit realm may act out because he or she feels overwhelmed and does not know how to express what he or she is experiencing. The problem is compounded when adults will not listen, try to hush the child, or refuse to believe the child's report of psychic incidents. We do our intuitive children a great injustice when we invalidate their experiences and intuitive abilities. But many parents simply don't know what to do with kids who see or hear spirits, talk about a deceased relative they never met in body, give clues into past lives, predict future events, or know some family secret they haven't been privy to. In some cases, the hushing parent also has some paranormal gifts in operation that he or she is not comfortable talking about. Maybe they were shushed by their parents and are simply mimicking the parenting role model they were given. As parents, teachers, and counselors, we need to teach children how to properly use this empathic gift. But many adults do not trust their own intuition, much less recognize their children's spiritual abilities. Empathic kids need someone they can talk to, and they need information on how to keep their auras clear, to open and shut their intuitive abilities at will, and set energetic boundaries. But where do adults go to learn how to help these empathic kids and teens? Empathy. In general, empathy is the ability to sense emotions of others coupled with the ability to judge what someone else might be thinking and feeling. In common parlance, empathy is most often defined by the metaphors standing in someone else's shoes or seeing through someone else's eyes. Psychologically speaking, there are basically 4 kinds of empathy in humans, which are self-empathy, mere emotional empathy, cognitive empathy, and compassionate empathy, as described below. Self-empathy. Self-empathy is the act of giving ourselves empathy, listening to our own feelings and unmet needs with compassion and understanding. This does not make the problems go away or magically make all our needs met, but it does help us to feel connected and centered with ourselves. It can also be a tool to express ourselves with more honesty. Though it doesn't make problems go away, it makes it easier to endure them. Cognitive empathy. It means knowing how the other person feels and what they might be thinking. It is very helpful in negotiations or motivating people. It has been found that people who possess good cognitive empathy, also called perspective taking, make good leaders or managers because they're able to move people to give their best efforts. But there can be a downside to this type of empathy. If people, falling within the dark triad, narcissists, Machiavellians, and psychopaths possess ample ability of cognitive empathy, they can exploit others to the extent of torturing them. Such people have no sympathy for their victims and expertly use their ability to calibrate their cruelty. Emotional empathy. It means feeling physically along with the other person as though their emotions are contagious. It makes one well attuned to another's emotional world, which is a plus in any of the wide range of callings. There is a downside attached to emotional empathy that occurs when people lack the ability to manage their own emotions. This can be seen as psychological exhaustion, leading to a burnout as commonly seen in professionals. The purposeful detachment cultivated by those in medical profession is a way to avoid burnout. But when the detachment leads to indifference, it can seriously hamper the professional care. Compassionate empathy, also commonly referred to as empathic concern. This type of empathy not only means understanding a person's predicament and feel with them, but spontaneously move to help them if needed. In fact, empathic concern is the vital ingredient of an empathic response in a given situation. It is the kind most required in people working as social volunteers. Empathy, a basic trait. Empathy is inherently present in humans to varying extents, and therefore we are affected by another's predicament differently. In fact, it's one of the basic traits of humans, so much so that anyone devoid of it strikes us as dangerous or mentally ill. Females frequently score higher on standard tests of empathy, social sensitivity, and emotion recognition than do males. Its inherence in humans can be established by the fact that how young children respond to the emotions of family members. Besides children, some household pets also express their worry when the family members are in distress. The pets hover nearby and put their heads in their owners' laps, showing that even animals have empathy. Besides humans, many other species exhibit presence of empathy to a varying extent. Parenting tips for recognizing and coping with an empathic child. Identifying an empathic child can be quite a challenge, especially if you are not an empath yourself. Oftentimes, their abilities go overlooked and they're left to cope with overwhelming emotions and a lifetime of feeling broken. When we as parents are able to recognize the signs that our child may have empathic abilities, we can set them up for a lifetime of wholeness and success despite the challenges they may face. Know what to look for. The younger the child is, the more difficult it will be to determine whether or not they are an empath. Some signs to look for are unexplained tantrums, teenage-like moodiness, extreme shifts in behavior, emotionally distant or the appearance of shutting down, difficulties focusing, especially in public or crowded places, excessive shyness. While these signs can point to a variety of things, when paired with the parent's observation of patterns in behavior in relation to the child's surroundings, over time you may want to look into the possibility of empathic abilities in your child. Listen and accept. If you do suspect that your child is an empath, the best step you can take is to actively listen and offer sincere acceptance and validation to your child. Some of the feelings they experience can be overwhelming, frightening, and confusing. Dealing with these large feelings on their own is very challenging for a child. By listening to what they're feeling and validating it rather than belittling it, dismissing it, or writing it off as a behavior problem, you strengthen their ability to handle the feelings and give them the confidence they need to cope with them. Acceptance is as important as they already feel weird and different among their peers. It is necessary to help them recognize that they have a unique gift, like a natural at baseball or a talented artist, and they are not broken. Help them understand. Oftentimes, empathic children are not fully aware of where their feelings are coming from. It can be difficult for parents to decipher it as well. All the signs listed above may come across as disobedient, difficult, or moody, but by listening to your child and observing the situation, you can begin to pick up on cues that will help you both understand the sudden shifts or waves of emotion. For example, if your child becomes angry for no apparent reason, consider your surroundings. You may notice a man upset with a cashier, a child not getting a toy they want, or even a grumpy face on a passerby. Point out your observations to your child. Tell them you may be picking up their angry energy. If the child protests and becomes more upset, don't push it. They may be genuinely upset, and you can risk dismissing their emotions. By simply pointing it out, you can help them learn how to assess their emotions on many levels rather than just letting the feelings overtake or confuse them. Teach coping skills. A helpful tool for all children. Healthy emotional coping skills are very important in teaching a child that not only are they responsible for their emotions, but they can take control of them. Without appropriate coping skills, a child can become run by their feelings, stunting their emotional maturity. Because empathic children have to cope with their own emotions as well as those of others, coping skills are key to remaining balanced and emotionally mature. Some examples of coping skills that will help your empathic child are relaxation techniques, breathing exercises, blowing bubbles, guided imagery, prayer, etc. Emotional freeing techniques exercise, and active play earthing or grounding. After you help your child balance themselves emotionally, you can then return to listening and sharing your observations with your child. When they no longer feel overwhelmed with emotions, they can more clearly determine the cause of them, whether by sharing with you why they were upset or by recognizing that they may have been picking up on someone else's energy. Living as an empath certainly possesses many challenges that are hard for the non-empathic to understand. But even if you cannot understand what your child is going through, being there, supporting them, and trusting in them will help them to learn about themselves and their gifts as well as how to live a balanced life. While the beginning of their journey may be rocky and confusing, as you navigate the waters together, over time they will become more emotionally stable and better able to control and cope with the overwhelming energies. Continue to listen, accept, and give your child healthy coping skills, and you will watch them flourish into amazing, gifted, emotionally mature adults. Role of empathy in life. Empathy plays a great role in our life in almost every sphere. The skill of empathy, though we inherit it, can be cultivated, which plays a significant role in making us successful in those spheres. Role of empathy in the life of an individual is actually dependent on its conceptualization by the individual, which varies widely. Nevertheless, empathy acts to reflect what has been perceived and creates a supportive or confirming atmosphere. Empathy is a powerful communication skill that is actually underused by many. It allows one to understand thoughts and resultant feelings created by them in others. Empathy also makes one to respond to others' feelings sympathetically so that they can win their trust, which promotes communication further. Our fear of failure, anger, and frustration suddenly drop away, allowing for a more meaningful dialogue and a deepening of relationships. Empathy is more than simple sympathy, which makes the individual understand others with compassion and sensitivity. That is why it plays an important role in the workplace, where many people work together to achieve something of significance. It helps create deep respect for the coworkers, thereby fostering a harmonious atmosphere in the workplace. Similarly, empathy is helpful in our professional life because, besides facilitating communication, it makes us a sympathetic listener to our clients, whereby we are able to understand them better. Because empathy makes us able to communicate effectively and listen empathetically, we stand a better chance of making our personal and social relationships successful. In fact, empathy is capable of nurturing every kind of relationship we enter into or are in. As it is clear that empathy affects our life with far-reaching ramifications, we should help our children to cultivate this trait so that they can become better human beings. Since empathy promotes pro-social behavior, it will help our children build close relationships, maintain friendships, and develop better communities. Emotional intelligence has assumed great importance over the past 20 years as an instrument in developing an ability to work with our own and others' emotions. One of the most important components of emotional intelligence skills is empathy. Standards you should look out for in a relationship if you're an empath. Being unresponsive. Judging, ridiculing, and belittling who you truly are is another. Acting as if this is something you will get over is a kiss of death when in a relationship with an empath. If they don't accept you or love you when you require them to, then just like any normal human being, you should step down as well. You have a unique ability to see and feel the world differently. When you feel that you are judged, you will start isolating your thoughts and will also hide things from the other half. The damage becomes mutual. If you constantly feel judged, that alone is the biggest red flag in your relationship. Casting their insecurities on you. It takes a secure man to really love an empathic woman. That is the honest truth. You will only tear yourself down as the person you love casts their insecurities on you. Feeling how others feel isn't something you can turn off, but you will start hiding the best of you from them if they keep bringing their insecurities to damage you intentionally. You will temporarily clip your own wings, and although it will be their loss, you will be hurt more. The beauty and most amazing parts of yours happen when you are in motion. If anyone tries to stop you or your energy as if they are trying to cage you or change you, what's good in that relationship? Narcissism. The number one goal of most narcissists is manipulation. That is how they get what they want or make you think what they want you to think. Not all narcissists have malicious intentions. It is just a control thing for them. Now, when an empath and a narcissist cross paths, the empath is more susceptible to this manipulation than most. As an empath, you are typically less guarded. It's not a conscious decision. It's just how you are. That's what enables you to pick up on the emotional state of other people so easily because you aren't trying to figure out if you should trust someone before getting emotionally attached. You just do. For a narcissist, this is like fighting against a boxer who has his hands in his pockets, assuming boxing shorts have pockets. All of those manipulations and controlling activities that take work for other people slide right in like unblocked punches on an empath. Narcissism is really a product of the ego, and for the most part, empaths are not egotistical people. Because of this, the narcissist's ego eventually overtakes the empath's. Essentially, a narcissist can make an empath into a narcissist over time. For the empath, they start to doubt themselves based on the manipulation of the narcissist, and they begin to feel like a victim. The victim mentality is also a product of the ego, so over time, the empath's feelings about themselves change. It's a fundamental shift in ego that can lead to depression. In the end, being an empath is tough enough as it is, and you know this, so let them go. Dishonesty. If the person sugarcoats things to you, you'll sense it. And just like any other normal relationship, 100% honesty is the way to go. The betrayal you feel from being lied to after you have opened up your heart and soul to them is something that will take a very long time to recover from. It can, and most likely, will ruin your relationship. When you are lied to, you will feel like giving second chances. That is the easiest thing for an empath to do, but know when you should stop. If a person values it enough, they will always be honest with you. Being prejudiced. If they are discomforted by people with different colored skin, sexual orientation, or personality differences, you will very likely lose interest. It's because empaths see people through all the layers and know who we really are deep inside. Labels mean nothing to them. If you can sense that a person is prejudiced about things, and more importantly, prejudiced about the difference in your personality as well, it's not going to last long. You can try to ignore the jokes that aren't funny to you. You can blame yourself for being too sensitive, but deep down, you are pulling yourself away from that person. Without waiting for the point when your self-respect is attacked, do what you need to do. You can't change everyone. The earlier you accept, the more emotional stability you gain. Need some alone time? Go for it. Fuel yourself, but not to repeat the same mistakes by being considerate about things that hurt your energy and is closing yourself off. Struggles empaths face on a daily basis. Empaths sometimes struggle with daily life. They pick up on negative emotions from other people and actually absorb those feelings onto themselves. They feel what others are feeling in such an intense way that they struggle to live a normal, everyday life. Empaths may not even be able to distinguish which emotions are their own and which belong to someone else. Most people think empaths have a wonderful gift. While being empathic and sensitive is an asset, it comes at a great cost. They are often misunderstood and labeled as lazy or needy. Empaths suffer from anxiety, depression, stress, professional burnout, and physical pain due to their gift. Just to highlight this fact, here are some struggles that empaths face on a daily basis. They struggle to say no. Empaths have a tendency to try to make others happy no matter what. Saying no is a real challenge for them because it feels like their job to cater to the needs of others. They have a natural giving personality. The last thing they want to do is cause negative feelings in others, probably because they would just absorb it back anyway. They know when people are lying. If a friend or loved one is telling a lie, an empath will know it. This may sound like a good thing, but in reality, it can leave them feeling very alone and vulnerable in a big world. Being lied to, even small white lies, by a loved one or a friend is extremely painful, especially for someone who is already hypersensitive to begin with. They need to sleep alone. Empaths need their personal space to sleep. If they cuddle up or sleep next to someone, they won't get real rest because they will just keep soaking up the emotions of the other person. Sleep is crucial for all living creatures because we all need to recharge. An empath often struggles in relationships because they have to sleep alone, and that is really hard for a lot of people to understand. It is typically taken as a sign that they do not enjoy being close or intimate. They struggle to keep jobs. Even people that really love their jobs don't enjoy them all the time. Empaths find it difficult to do things that they do not enjoy. They feel as though they're living a lie. Because of this trait, empaths often just don't do the tasks they don't want to do. They will excel if they enjoy what they're working on, but the second it becomes boring or dull, empaths run for the door. For this reason, empaths can struggle to hold down a job. They bounce from one to another and find it difficult to reach any sort of significant professional success. They need solitude. An empath needs their quiet time. They need space to recoup from others' energies. Alone time is the only opportunity an empath gets to spend with their own, and only their own, energy and emotion. If an empath does not get enough solitude, they will become weighed down and aggravated. They are taken advantage of. Empaths are a perpetual dumping ground for others. Anyone who is sad, upset, or suffering with any emotional pain will want to unload on an empath. These people can be family, friends, or even strangers. They may not realize they're dumping on the empath because it almost happens without thought. The best kind of relationships for an empath. Empaths in love relationships can be thought-provoking for empaths because it is important for them to have an adequate amount of time to themselves, and while some empaths choose to remain single, there are benefits in being with the right kind of person in a loving relationship. The difference between a loving relationship and that of family and friends is the amount of time we spend with them. Being alone is helpful to empaths as it is a good time for them to recharge and balance. What they need in a relationship is someone who will understand, support, and love them unconditionally. Getting a hug each day is very important as well. It helps them to feel safer. The following reveals the pros and cons of being in a relationship with the different types of people that come into their lives. Opposites attract. On one end of the emotional sensitivity scale are empaths, and on the other end are narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. If you are skilled enough to recognize narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, the best thing to do is to run away as fast as you can, as there is little benefit here. These folks will eventually completely drain you, control you, and steal your self-esteem. They may seem completely charming, interested in you in the beginning, and this is how they manipulate you to believing that they are the best partner for you. This is the trap that a lot of empaths fall into. So what is the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths? Both share a number of the same characteristics, including a lack of empathy, remorse, and guilt. The core quality of both is a deceitful and manipulative nature. While sociopaths are less emotionally stable and highly impulsive, psychopaths plan down to the smallest detail and take calculated risks to avoid detection. Narcissists have a grandiose sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. Being in a relationship with them will leave the empath so busy in trying to please them that there will be no time for self-nurturing, as they will not obtain much nurturing from a narcissist. They do not have the ability to care for others, which is the complete opposite of an empath. They will leave the empath so depleted that it will affect their health and well-being. With other empaths, this is a very challenging match, as you will both find it hard to know what emotions are yours and which emotions are the other person's. It's hard enough being an empath and dealing with the emotions of others as well as your partner's. They will understand you more than most, and if you have strong boundaries, it can work well. It would need to be an open relationship where you will both take the time to discuss what is being felt on a daily basis. If this kind of work is done, there is the opportunity for both partners to fast-track their spiritual development. The big benefits of being an empath. 1. We are natural healers and can gift healing energy to others through our hands, voices, or even by playing a musical instrument. Many empaths choose to pursue energy healing as they feel an inner calling to heal themselves and others. 2. Our heightened sense of smell allows us to enjoy food, beverages, flowers, essential oils, etc. with more intensity. If you work to increase your skill of smell, you can also smell death or disease in an animal or a person. This can lead to saving lives. 3. We will sense potential dangers before other people and are more in tune with our sixth sense. 4. Since we feel everything so strongly, we are prone to feeling deeper lows, but also are prone to feeling greater highs than those who are not as sensitive. Most of us have a great enthusiasm for life and experience, live and joy with greater intensity, and tend to be more kind, understanding, compassionate, and caring. 5. While many people who are not so empathic feel deeply uncomfortable being alone with themselves, empaths actually crave a lot of alone time and require it to balance and de-stress. We need alone time to recuperate. And that's not a bad thing, as we are more self-aware because of this time with ourselves. 6. Empaths are usually very creative in life, with not only art, but also experiences, situations, and possibilities. We think differently and see things that others would not be able to conceptualize as easily. This creativity of thought and processing can often be mislabeled as wrong, but it's actually a capacity of yours. 7. We can read emotional cues and are very emotional ourselves, so we can imagine well what the other person feels and what would happen inside if this person did not have their needs met. 8. Sensitive people are good at sensing all kinds of nonverbal communication and indicators of physical needs and emotions. This gives us a talent for intuiting the unconscious mind and for sensing the needs of those who cannot speak, such as animals, plants, infants, and the human body. 9. We also are much more aware of people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and because of this, we can almost always sense when someone is lying to us. We know when someone tells us they are fine, but they really are crying on the inside. Because of our heightened awareness, we can see through the false facades people put up. 10. People cannot lie to us without us knowing. Even when someone tries to tell us they are okay, but they are not, we see through the facade they put up and we can feel what's really going on under the surface. Your heightened sensitivity is a gift and not a curse. Remember that your thoughts are things and what you think is what you create. So next time you curse your heightened awareness or sensitivity level, remember some of these benefits that you've just uncovered. The empath's abilities. It is sometimes hard to tell whether or not someone is an empath, a psychic who possesses empathic abilities. The problem is, you don't always know if someone actually possesses these psychic powers or if they are just sensitive, understanding people. How do you know if you're really empathic? Empaths are extremely sensitive to the feelings of those around them. Often an empath will be able to sense what someone is experiencing, even if they can't see or hear that person. Someone with this kind of ability simply knows. Many psychics with empathic abilities report experiencing someone else's feelings as though they were their own. Though this is not always the case, a psychic with this kind of ability will be able to sense the feelings of others, especially if those feelings are very strong. Common feelings that an empath will experience include fear, joy, loneliness, excitement, love, and foreboding. The stronger the feelings, the easier it will be for the empath to sense, understand, and feel. The thing that sets empaths apart from other normal people is that they have a deeper, more sensitive understanding for what they're feeling. This intuition comes from within and is far greater than what most people experience. For example, a normal person might realize that someone they love is upset by little things they say or do. However, an empath would sense this even without seeing or talking to that person, and an empath could sense if that loved one was feeling betrayed, jealous, angry, or hurt. This psychic intuition would come from within, not from visual or audible clues of the physical world. Empaths are able to tell when something is wrong, even if that something hasn't happened yet. They are overcome with a deep sense of forbidding that warns them that everything is not as it should be. A normal person, on the other hand, would not be able to tell when something unexpected or dangerous was going to happen. These things all sound great, but not everyone realizes that it can also be very difficult to be an empath. This is because empaths are not able to shut off their abilities whenever they want. That is, they cannot choose whether or not to feel something. Instead, they must feel whatever their psychic intuition senses, even if they would rather not. This is a huge burden for empaths, and it is also why empathic psychics can get sick from exhaustion. Tips for empaths to help prevent anxiety attacks. 1. Release attachment. Unfortunately, most empaths have not been trained to use their gift of empathy properly. So, when they walk into a room of high emotional intensity, i.e. a funeral home, a concert, or a home that has a lot of conflict, they begin to pick up on the emotions of those around them, almost like a TV antenna tuning into different channels. Empaths will unknowingly pick up strong signals that are being emitted by those around them. This can be extremely confusing for someone who is tuning in to an emotion of panic accidentally. They may begin to feel all the symptoms of a panic attack, rapid pulse, hyperventilating, etc., but cannot pinpoint exactly why they are feeling fearful. 2. Allow the emotion to be. Don't fight it. When we don't realize that an emotion is not ours, but comes from the surrounding environment, we will often take responsibility for it. We assume that we've created the emotion of panic or anxiety, so we own it. When you own an emotion that isn't yours, you have two choices. The first option is to fight the feeling and try your best to push it away so that it doesn't ruin your experience. If you find yourself having an anxiety attack at a birthday party, you may try to suppress the emotion by ignoring it or become upset that you're experiencing the emotion in the first place. This only creates more resistance. It makes it a lot more difficult for you to let go of the emotion when you're fighting it. The second option is to give in to the emotion. This is actually better than fighting the feeling that you're experiencing. When you allow yourself to feel whatever emotion is overcoming you, you have a chance at letting it go and moving forward. 3. Release the need to fix others. This is a mammoth for empaths. When we have the belief that we are here to fix the problems of others, we create major problems for ourselves. This issue is so common, and it's a recipe for disaster. When you feel the need to fix someone, you become a sponge and will unconsciously seek to take their negativity from them and put it on your shoulders. Because you cannot ever take away someone's pain, it's their responsibility to let it go. You will only end up sharing it with them. You will lower your own vibration to match them and will likely leave their presence feeling exhausted, in a low mood, and heavy. Tools for an empath healing, meditation, and protection. Crystals. Rose quartz is a fantastic crystal for an empath because its healing properties promote unconditional love and comfort. This is especially good for a person that may be holding less than loving energies of something, someone, or even themselves. Black tourmaline or hematite are also great crystals for an empath to help them stay grounded. These stones will also help to absorb any negative energies. Malachite is another crystal that will help absorb any negative feelings you may be having, whether they are your own or not. Labradorite is a crystal that will actually help protect your aura from absorbing any issues that are being shared with you. Citrine is a yellow crystal to help brighten your mood. Another citrine healing property is that it can also help absorb bad energy from your environment. Another go-to crystal for me is amethyst. Not only is it beautiful, but it will strengthen your intuition. Heightened intuition is wonderful for everyone, but especially for empaths, to help them truly know that the feelings they may be having are theirs or not. Last but not least is rainbow fluorite. Rainbow fluorite may very well be, in my opinion, the mother of all crystals for an empath, as it helps all levels of being. This is a multicolored crystal that can help you stay grounded to the earth, help clear and balance all chakras, as well as to help you stay attuned to higher dimensions. These are my personal go-to crystals to help me stay centered, grounded, protected, and tuned in. Crystals can and will help heal your life. Meditation. Meditation has been used for thousands of years as a way to attain a level of awareness that is beyond the limitations of the everyday thinking mind. Quite simply, it's the practice of bringing together the mind, body, and spirit. Most don't realize that our bodies were meant to be self-correcting to maintain positive health by simply keeping mind, body, and spirit in balance. Imagine how easy it is to be out of balance when the energy of others infiltrates your body on a daily basis. When you're out of balance, your life force energy doesn't flow quite the way it should. Being out of balance shows up in life as aches and pains, and when you're out of balance for long enough, your body begins to create illness and disease. Alone time and meditation is a wonderful way for an empath to keep them balanced, healthy, and whole. This is the practice of loving yourself that most empaths put at the back of the line, if they even put it in the line of importance at all. Types of empaths. Empathy is the ability of being able to put yourselves in someone else's shoes and feel things as if you were them. However, there are several different types of empaths, each of which has a different set of empathetic abilities. The main types of empaths are geomantic empath. Geomantic empathy is sometimes called place or environmental empathy. Those with this ability have a fine attunement to the physical landscape. If you find yourself uncomfortable or really happy in certain environments or situations for no apparent reason, you may be a geomantic empath. If you are a geomantic empath, you will feel a deep connection to certain places. You may be drawn to sacred stones, groves, churches, or other places of sacred power. You may also be sensitive to the history of a place and be able to pick up on sadness, fear, or joy that has occurred in locations. Place empaths are highly attuned to the natural world and grieve for any damage to it. They watch with horror when trees are cut down or landscapes destroyed. If you are this type of empath, you will probably need to spend time in nature to recharge. You may also find helping in an environmental project very healing for you. It is also important for you to make your everyday surroundings as harmonious and beautiful as you can. You may feel happier if you fill your house with plants and natural scents. You might also like to choose natural materials such as wood and linen for your clothing and furniture. Plant empath. If you are a plant empath, you instinctively sense what plants need. You'll be green-fingered and have a true gift for placing the right plant in the right place in your garden or home. Many plant empaths choose to work in parks, gardens, or wild landscapes where they can put their gifts to good use. In fact, if you have chosen an occupation that involves plants, then you are probably a plant empath. Some people with this gift actually receive guidance from trees or plants directly by hearing it within the mind. If you are this kind of empath, you will already know that you need a lot of contact with trees and plants. You might like to strengthen this bond by sitting quietly by a special tree or plant and attuning more closely to its needs and guidance. Animal empath. Many empaths have a strong connection with animals. However, an animal empath will probably devote their lives to working for the care of our animal friends. Those with this gift will know what an animal needs and may be able to telepathically communicate with the creature. If you are an animal empath, you probably already spend as much time with animals as you can. You may find that studying the biology or psychology of animals helps you to refine your gift. You could also consider training as an animal healer, as your special talent can enable you to find out what is wrong with an animal and treat it accordingly. Emotional empath. The emotional empath is one of the most common types of empaths. If you are the type, you will easily pick up the emotions of others around you and feel the effects of those emotions as if they were yours. The emotional empath will deeply experience the feelings of others in their own emotional body. For example, an emotional empath can become deeply sad around another individual who is experiencing sadness. For emotional empaths, it is important to learn to differentiate between your own emotions and those of others. In this way, you can use your ability to help others without becoming drained. Physical medical empath. Those with this type of empathy can pick up on the energy of other people's bodies. They intuitively know what ails another person. Many people with this type of empathy become healers, either in the conventional medical professions or in alternative ones. Physical empaths may feel an awareness in their physical body when treating someone. They also may see blockages in a person's energy field that they sense need treating. If you are a medical empath, you may pick up on symptoms from others and feel them in your own body. Taking on the physical symptoms of others may lead to health problems. Some people with chronic illnesses such as fibromyalgia or autoimmune diseases might find it helps to strengthen their own energetic field so that they can turn this ability off when necessary. Taking some training in a form of healing can also help to hone this ability. Claircognizant, intuitive empath. If you are a claircognizant or intuitive empath, you'll pick up information from other people simply by being around them. One glance at someone can give you all kinds of insights into that person. You will immediately know if someone is lying to you because you can sense the intentions behind their words. Those with this gift resonate to others' energetic fields and read the energy of others easily. This is closely related to the telepathic empath who can read another person's thoughts. If you have this ability, you need to surround yourself with people who you feel aligned with. With this gift, you may need to strengthen your energetic field so that you are not constantly bombarded with the thoughts and emotions of others. Being an empath is not easy. You may find it confusing, puzzling, and strenuous. However, understanding which of the types of empath you are can help you to use your gifts and abilities to help yourself and those around you. Types of narcissists empaths should avoid like the plague. Empaths are people who care far too deeply for their own good. If they do not know how to control their gift, they will be taken advantage of time and time again. For the most part, narcissists will target the less informed empath, the ones who are not quite able to ground themselves just yet. That being said, while there are tons of different kinds of narcissists, the kinds listed below are the ones who empaths seem to attract the most. If you are an empath, you need to learn how to protect yourself from these narcissists and how to figure out who they are as quickly as possible. Kinds of narcissists empaths attract. The romantic narcissist. This narcissist is a lot similar to the sweet talker, but still different. He or she will make you fall head over heels in love and make you give and give and give until you have nothing left of yourself. You will always feel guilty when you're not spending every waking moment with this narcissist. The angry narcissist. This narcissist will become angry out of nowhere, not at first, but in time. Once his or her true colors begin to come through, you will notice how volatile he or she is. Run, run, run. The control freak narcissist. This narcissist will ease his or her way in and slowly control small aspects of your life. Once they get comfy, they will push more and more to the point where you cannot even pick out the clothes you wear. These kinds of people will only bring you down. They should have no place in anyone's lives, especially not an empath's. If you are in a relationship already with a narcissist, please get out. The smooth-talking narcissist. This kind of narcissist will weasel his or her way into your life, promising you all kinds of wonderful things. Once he or she has you in his grasp, the draining will begin. They will slowly begin showing signs of insincerity and eventually leave you with nothing. For the empath, they will come across as perfect with the will to improve, but they're not quite what they seem. The elitist narcissist. This narcissist wants nothing more than to gain status through you. They will only pay attention to people who can help them get to the top. Once they make it to the top, they will kick you off the edge. This kind of narcissist will devalue you more so than the rest. Ways to turn being an empath into your greatest gift. Being an empath can be hard sometimes, but there are some ways to prevent the emotional draining. Empaths are highly accustomed to the emotions of others. They feel what others feel, and this can sometimes be overwhelming. Empaths can bring light and love into the world with their compassion and understanding, but feeling the emotions of others can have its downside. The negative emotions of others can deplete empaths. In addition, others may take advantage of your caring nature. To be of service to the world and to thrive in your own life, It is necessary to learn to take care of yourself and protect your own energy so that you can care for others and still reach your own potential. Here are ways to make the most of your empathic nature without becoming worn down by the emotions of others. Protect yourself from negative energies. Being an empath, sensitive to the needs and emotions of others, can be emotionally draining. Try to protect yourself from too many negative influences where possible. Limit time spent with negative, critical, or toxic people and find time to restore after you've been with them. Avoid negative media and focus on good news and positive stories. Fill your email box or Facebook page with inspiring messages instead of allowing yourself to be pulled into the negativity of others. You can also visualize a bubble of golden light around you when you're in situations where you know you'll be subjected to negative energies and emotions. This can help you to protect yourself and allow negativity to bounce off you rather than being absorbed. Release negative energies. No matter how much you protect yourself, you will sometimes pick up negative emotions from those around you. You may also become stuck in unhelpful thinking patterns of your own. Empaths are by no means upbeat and positive all the time, and grief for the world and others can often bring sensitive people into depression and sadness. These emotions shouldn't necessarily be considered negative. Grief and sadness are natural in an imperfect world, and denying these feelings will not make them disappear. Instead, try to feel the emotions fully and then let them pass. You can use tools such as journaling, exercise, or dancing to help process negativity. Find time to be alone. In a world where there seems to be so much stress, drama, and negativity, it is vital for sensitive people to have time alone to think and process emotions. Without time to focus on their own needs, empaths can feel overwhelmed by the needs of others. Make finding time to be alone a priority and use the time to do the things that help you stay balanced and healthy. You might find that meditation, shamanic journeying, visualization, walking in nature, painting, or journaling can help you process thoughts and emotions. Find a space to restore your energies. It can help to create space in which to restore. You need a place that is calm and peaceful and where you will not be distracted by outside influences. For some people, creating a meditation space, either in the house or garden, can help. For others, spending daily time in nature restores them. You can even lock yourself in the bathroom for some quiet time each day if that is the only place you will get some peace. Make your space as beautiful as you can with candles, artwork, plants, or whatever else puts you in a calm state of mind. Try to make sure your space is not cluttered or untidy, as a clear space will help still the mind. You may also like to use incense or essential oils to enhance your space, and some people like to use calming music or meditation apps to help them restore. Follow your own dreams. Because empaths are so sensitive to the needs and emotions of others, they can sometimes neglect their own dreams. But remember, you are a unique spiritual being who is on the earth at this time with a purpose of your own. Don't allow others to spend all of your energy to the point that you have nothing left to give your own dreams. Make time in your schedule to follow your desires and make it sacred. Remember, if you don't choose how to spend your life energy, others will spend it for you on their dreams rather than yours, and you will miss the chance to fulfill your sacred purpose. Use your empathy for the good of the world. Empaths intuitively understand that the world's problems will not be solved by hate and rejection, but by the love and understanding. Try to use this energy in a good way for the world, even if it's just in small actions, such as donating to a food bank or picking up litter. Being able to do something good for the world because of your empathic nature will help you be positive about being an empath rather than seeing it as a burden. Being an empath is a gift, but your sensitive nature must be managed to ensure that it helps you to thrive. Taking time to support yourself is not selfish. It is vital if your gift is to be truly useful to the world. What is needed for an empath's energy protection? Common traits of an empath and why they need protection. Empaths are drawn to healing themselves and others. They're usually drawn to healing because they feel that they have so much internal healing to do. Until, that is, they realize that most of the healing needed is for others that they are intuitively feeling. They're usually in a state of constant fatigue. This is a huge issue. People, along with their energies, are constantly invading an empath's energy. An empath will usually take on too much and become drained very quickly, and it's not easily cured by sleep or rest. It goes so much deeper than that, and it's quite exhausting. Empaths are excellent listeners. They genuinely care about the well-being of others and find themselves listening to the woes of people they don't even know. Most people find empaths so easy to open up to. That's when they start dumping all kinds of negativity going in their life. Sometimes people aren't even aware that they're doing this. In most cases, an empath will take care of the needs of others even before their own because they care so much. Since people get comfortable enough around them to open up, they will usually selflessly lend their ear to help a person, even if it's to their own detriment. Alone time is a necessity for an empath. Many empaths like to get away from all of the emotions and energy that is not theirs, so they require much needed time alone. This is time for them to get back to balance and distance them from all negativity that is not theirs. An empath can also appear as moody. Empaths sometimes seem to have major mood swings, and this has sometimes contributed to all of the overwhelming thoughts and feelings bombarding them on a daily basis. Not only are they bombarded with these energies, but now they need to clearly sort through and figure out all that stuff coming their way. They are emotionally sensitive to violence, cruelty, or any sort of tragedy. Most empaths quit watching the television and reading the newspapers at some point in their lives, as this too can be very overwhelming for an empath. Just plain knowing is also a common empath trait. Empaths sometimes know things that they are positive they were never taught or told. This knowing is very different than intuition or a gut feeling. Being in public places is often overwhelming or painful to an empath. Again, so many people's emotions are in public places that can be picked up when not even trying to. This is a roller coaster most empaths will avoid at all costs. An empath can feel honesty and integrity. They can tell if someone is being honest or not, which is very unsettling and sometimes painful in your life. It's especially unsettling when they are dealing with loved ones, feeling the physical symptoms and pains of another. Many empaths will find themselves developing an ailment that someone else has that has nothing to do with them. This is empathy at its finest. These are just a few of the traits of an empath. Again, being an empath can be either considered a curse or a gift, depending on the tools you use to protect yourself. There are many ways for empaths to protect themselves. Avoiding large social gatherings or public places at all costs is one way, but there are times when you just cannot avoid these things. Why empaths must set boundaries and care for themselves. An empath tends to be somewhat of a caretaker. We have such a desire to please and help others, we often do so at the expense of our own health. When an empath is feeling overwhelmed, there is a good chance that he or she is not caring for their own needs. Empaths are kind and caring. At times, we are almost saintly because we tend to care for others more than we care for ourselves. However, you are not doing yourself or anyone else any favors by being a martyr. Codependency is common in our relationships because we want to please others. Doing or saying something that will make someone else angry or sad is uncomfortable for us, so we often avoid confrontation. After all, if we make someone angry or upset, we will probably pick up that feeling and make us even more uncomfortable. This is not self-care. This is self-sabotage. Caretaking does not serve or protect another person. It keeps them from growing up and accepting responsibility for their own actions and feelings. You have to be the bad guy from time to time just to maintain your own health and sanity. People may get mad at you if you don't do what they want you to do, but their feelings are not your feelings, and your well-being is not dependent on theirs. Part of maturing as an empath is to stop taking on responsibilities that aren't yours. There are times when we must have the courage to say no when called upon to give away our valuable time or emotional resources. It's okay to let others take care of themselves as much as possible. It's fine to ask others to help you. A healthy relationship is a two-way venture where receiving is equal to giving. Let your friends pamper you from time to time. Extend patient, loving attention to yourself by setting aside time for spiritual renewal, to read, or do a craft or project you enjoy. Find some place where you can be alone in nature to refresh your own batteries. Do some type of physical exercise to keep the energy flowing in your body. Care for yourself the way you do others. When you treat yourself with compassion, you offer yourself a supportive, emotional environment that allows you to overcome past patterns and challenges to step into the positive change that you are seeking and deserve. Why we need empaths and how empaths can survive the world. No doubt that empaths are special, sensitive, and lovely people. Without them, the world would be one without passion, love, understanding, and support. All people need empaths in their lives. The sad fact is that many empaths suffer from constant fears, stress, anxiety, or a lack of meaning in their lives. Empaths are heroes because, unlike many of us, they choose not to keep their souls and their compassion hidden from others. They make themselves available without question, whenever needed, and surround those who need them in a beautiful circle of love. Our world needs empaths. They have the power to make other people great. Unfortunately, they don't know how to make themselves great, and that's really unfortunate. To enable themselves to be great, empaths should take care not to give themselves to others unconditionally. They need to keep some of their energy for themselves. To add more stress to their already existing anxiety would be unhealthy. It's important for empaths to learn how to make peaceful, relaxing, enjoyable lives for themselves first. They have to believe that everything starts with them. If they don't have enough energy or love for themselves, how can they give love and energy to others? No individual can give away something that he or she doesn't have. Therefore, empaths must make a place in their lives where they can relax. This place needs to be separate from the rest of the world, that part of their world which causes them stress. This is the place where empaths can replenish their energy and return to whenever life gets too busy, too hectic, or too demanding. And when they're in that special place, their only purpose should be to relax, meditate, visualize, sit down and listen to their favorite music, or to just be silent and feel their feelings, think their thoughts, or read a book that will teach them, assure them that they're not alone on this earth. There are easy and effective ways through which empaths can de-stress and recharge themselves. Empaths are a priceless gift to the world. They, therefore, shouldn't constantly worry about their health or about how to save the world. Yes, empaths need to realize that the world would survive even without them and that their lives don't have to be so difficult. They need to connect to their own beliefs and spirituality. This will make the difference, make them stronger, and allow them to be caring to themselves so that they can live lives that are healthier and more pleasurable. Empaths need a balance between helping others and helping themselves. They feel more than they need to, and this is a problem that modern medicine can't help with. There's no cure for an empath's love. Western medicine treats symptoms, not the soul or the spirit. So empaths need to be their own health care providers, and as it turns out, they are their own best possible healers. When a person's emotional life is healthy, his or her physical health will improve immediately. This is called the mind-body connection. When feeling overwhelmed or when things seem to be falling apart, empaths need to go inside themselves, inside their spirit, and find their cure, their place of comfort. It's a sacred place, and they deserve to have it. And as long as they have it, they'll have enough passion, love, understanding, and support to give to the rest of the world. Conclusion. Undoubtedly, empathy immensely affects our everyday life. This trait will come in handy in situations where we find ourselves trapped because it will make us understand others' perspectives. Though we are born with this trait, it happens to be underused by many. As empathy is one of the most important skills to be practiced for success in everyday life, we should encourage our children to cultivate it. Empathy is an inherent trait in humans, but it is present to a variable extent in most of us. Believe me, there are exceptions of people who have no empathy whatsoever. That is why everyone doesn't empathize to others to the same extent and in the same manner. Nevertheless, it plays a significant role in our day-to-day life, contributing extensively to our personal, professional, and social success. Thanks again for buying my book. If you have a minute, please leave a review. I take reviews seriously and always look at them. This way, you are helping me provide you better content that you will love in the future. A review doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences and a number of stars you find appropriate. Hopefully 5, of course. Also, if I think your review is useful, I will mark it as helpful. This will help you become more known on Amazon as a decent reviewer and will ensure that more authors will contact you with free ebooks in the future. This is how we can help each other.